Rosalie Bastianich and Finley Broke are getting married. So last time we talked, Rosalie Bastianich, the heir of Generation 2 of my Not-So-Berry Challenge, enjoyed the last day of her romantic Tartosa getaway with her sweetheart Finley Broke, trying oregano for the first time and going to the beach the next day. Before leaving to go back home to Windenburg, Finley surprised her with a marriage proposal. Marrying your high school sweetheart is something many girls dream of, but when it came to Rosalie, she was unsure what to think of her new fiancé status, and if she even liked saying the word fiancé. Speaking of fiancés, back at home in Windenburg, our founder Gwyneth Westwood was anxiously waiting with her future wife, Tartosa Stallings, for her daughter to get back home from her trip. Gwyneth wanted to celebrate Rosalie being back home, so she and Tartosa decided to cook a special dinner and prepare some drinks for the entire family. They got started on some chips and salsa and vegetarian-friendly tacos, while her youngest daughter, Bella Westwood, got started on her homework, and Speckles, who aged up to an elder during Rosalie's vacation, sat alone in the family gym. Wow, she's already preparing herself for death. Gwyneth could not wait to hear all about Rosalie's trip, and was really going to do her best to cherish these last few days with her eldest daughter under her roof. In just 3 days, Rosalie would be heading off to Brichester and beginning the next chapter of her education. She'd be officially living on her own in the dorms, far away from Windenburg. She was proud of Rosalie, but sad to see her all grown up. She would miss her dearly, and hopes that during holidays and between semesters, she'll stop by to visit her dear old mother. It was as Gwyneth was wrapping up dinner when Rosalie and Finley got back, newly engaged, and they were going to break that news over dinner. The young couple was greeted by Rosalie's family with open arms, filled with excitement to hear all about Tartosa. And though Gwyneth had yet to see the shiny ring on her daughter's ring finger, Rosalie was a bit nervous to break the news to her mother, unsure of how she would react. And Bella was having some issues, but that's nothing fucking new. Why are you yelling at your alien mother? Perhaps I should have sent you back to Sixham post-birth after all. Everyone sat down at the picnic table, digging into the veggie meat tacos and mango smoothies that Gwyneth and Tartosa prepared. Rosalie began talking about Tartosa, the weather, the beaches, the cuisine, the nightlife. She shared photos of the gorgeous villa Finley picked out. She was slowly warming her family up before dropping the bomb about her engagement, which she herself still was a bit shocked about. She loved Finley with all her heart. However, with just graduating high school and becoming a young adult and going off to college, she didn't think marriage would be something on his mind. It certainly wasn't on hers. Perhaps this can be a lengthy engagement, one that lasts throughout their college years, and they can actually get married once they get their degrees. That didn't sound too rushed, right? She asked Bella and Gwyneth about their days too, making sure they were in a good mood before finally telling everybody her and Finley are engaged. He proposed. Gwyneth was definitely shocked by the news, but her daughter seemed happy. Therefore, she was happy. Rosalie went on to tell Bella, and, unlike with her mother, she wasn't met with a positive response. In fact, Bella started yelling at her, telling her she was too young to get married. Damn bitch, can you be happy about anything? That difficult family dynamic is working overtime. Whatever, Rosalie ignored her and proceeded to tell Tartosa, who, like Gwyneth, was thrilled for her, and Gwyneth sat down next to Bella, having something to say to her. She didn't appreciate her not being happy for her sister, and her behavior was out of control lately. She put her in timeout. A timeout is so fitting for Bella. Rosalie was busy joking around with Tartosa, so Gwyneth congratulated her future son-in-law. She told him she adored him, and was so excited for him to become a part of their family. Tartosa girl, not you mind zapping Joseph Jr. Turns out Bella had been a bit rude to Finley when Gwyneth wasn't paying attention as well. So, she saw that it was only fitting to punish Bella for her improper behavior. Since she doesn't want to be happy for her big sister and be rude to their guest, she can go ahead and do all the dishes before heading off to bed. And with that, everyone, except Bella, went off to their bedrooms, and Tanisha headed back for San Myshuno. Rosalie felt so relieved that the news about the engagement was out, and while Finley worked out in her home gym downstairs, she finalized her class schedule and dorm arrangements, choosing to live in a single dorm in the Drake Hall. And after that was done, she decided that she should probably check that her and Finley had been safe during their trip, and, thank goodness, they were. She was absolutely petrified of getting pregnant. It was scary enough being engaged. She decided she needed to do something about it as soon as possible, before they're off to college. With her having a single dorm, she just knew that their sleepovers wouldn't involve much sleeping. Yes, because it makes so much sense to go out to the pharmacy late at night in lingerie. She wasn't gonna wait for Finley to get snipped. With her high woohoo drive, she decided the best case scenario for now would be the pill. Damn. Finley is so hurt from Bella hating on his engagement to Rosalie LMAO. If you don't leave my favorite white chocolate man alone, if my man ain't this pathetic and obsessed with me, I don't want him. Rosalie told Finley where she just went to the pharmacy to start taking birth control. It won't kick in for a few days, but once it does, they'll be able to have their fun without anything getting in between them, if he knows what she means. You two are so dumb. My god, that does not mean it's 100% effective. Whatever, Finley was very excited about this news, which led to a lot of flirting and a lot of wicked talk. What she wants him to do to her, how she wants it done, how she wants to be wild and hot and adventurous, and if he wants her now, she's up for the taking. Y'all are such horn dogs, but okay, get in the shower. Apparently, Finley aren't the only horn dogs in this house. Is that why you were such a bitch last night, Bella? Because your sister is getting some and you aren't. Rosalie and Finley have the same exact woohoo drive, so you're gonna be woohooing non-stop. Got it. It was time for Gwyneth to head back to the lab. Feeling at peace knowing Rosalie was back home safe and sound, as a level 9 scientist, she was quick to get to the chaos, starting off with using the simray on everyone and making their existence just a bit more miserable. I did not know Finley's ugliest brother Beau works with Gwyneth. Finley really lucked out in the genetics department. As she began mixing serums, Gwyneth began thinking a lot about last night's news. Her daughter Rosalie is an engaged woman. Just like her. What a slap in the face. Anyways, Gwyneth, like Rosalie, was unsure how to feel about the situation. She loved, respected, and trusted Rosalie and her decision-making. She was a good kid and wise beyond her years. I don't know about that one, Gwynny Bear, but to her, she was. As for Finley, she thought he was a great young man. He obviously loved her daughter and treats her with respect. He was going off to college to make something of himself. They are a perfect match for each other. But marriage, when they both have so much more to experience first. She was a bit concerned if Rosalie was thinking straight. She's young and in love for the first time, just like how Gwyneth was when she first met Joseph. Then again, Finley isn't Joseph. He was significantly older than Gwyneth when they met and a creep since the start. But she just didn't want Rosalie to make the same mistake that she did when she was young. Growing up too fast, she decided that, after work, she was going to mention her concerns to Rosalie in private. Marriage is a big commitment, and she didn't know if Rosalie truly understood what she would be getting herself into. Okay, back to work. Gwyneth was about to do something that she'd never once done in her entire career. Clone a sim. She certainly didn't want another version of herself roaming around the simulation. So, she went ahead and cloned one of her employees that she could not fucking stand. Carla Gravett. Cloning someone you hate sounds like a bad idea, but alright. Holy shit, she actually did it. She successfully made a clone of Carla. Interesting. Oh, even more interesting. They immediately gained a difficult family dynamic. Seems like Carla is about to have so much fun. What do you mean this sitch is a part of this household now? Hell no, Carla can deal with her. And from the looks of it, it seemed like she was going to be a lot to deal with. Gwyneth finished up the rest of her work, like preventing abductions and upgrading the satellite. Before eating the free dinner and heading back home, she found Rosalie outside talking on the phone with Courtney James. Then planning for Rosalie to visit the next day, she waited for Rosalie to get off the phone before confronting her. Seems like she's pretty stressed out about it. Gwyneth started off by saying that she loves Rosalie and is proud of her, and no matter what, she would always support her, especially as she experiences young womanhood and begins making big decisions. However, as her mother, she has to let her know when she's concerned, and frankly, she did have some concerns about her engagement to Finley. Gwyneth just wanted to know if Rosalie truly thought this out, if this is something she really wanted. She'd never heard Rosalie desire to get married. He's a great kid, but they're so young. They're just about to go off to college and get started with their careers. Perhaps it would be a better idea to hold off engagement until they graduate at least. Rosalie appreciated her mother's concerns. It reminded her that she cared, unlike Joseph, who would have just judged her. But Rosalie told her mummy she had nothing to worry about. She was sure that Finley's proposal didn't mean they were going to get married right away. She thought it would be a good idea to wait until she graduates from college and starts her career as well. She's thought it over, and she was set in her decision. She would be marrying Finley Broke. He's too good of a man to pass up. Even though Gwyneth still believed Rosalie was too young for an engagement, she was relieved to hear that they weren't planning on actually marrying until they were older. Perhaps this will strengthen their relationship, and once they graduate, they'll be more than ready. Gwyneth thanked Rosalie for the peace of mind, and Rosalie thanked Gwyneth for being so supportive. Oh, and her and Finley started woohooing. She thought she should know. Gwyneth was not ready to hear that information. She kind of figured, but still, her baby really was grown up. She thanked Rosalie for trusting her enough to tell her. As she processed it in depth, Rosalie just wants them to be close, like besties. She didn't say this aloud, but she still had major regrets about prioritizing her relationship with Joseph over Gwyneth. She wanted to make up for it by becoming closer than ever to her mother, despite the distance that would soon be between them. Speaking of Joseph, she did have a question about him for her mother. It had been a while since they talked back in Oasis Springs. She was wondering if Joseph had called, or asked about her, or sent anything to her in the mail while she was away, even though she knew she shouldn't care. Gwyneth said no, she hadn't heard from Joseph at all since Harvest Fest. Rosalie figured he hadn't reached out. She said some pretty harsh things to him that day, but she thought that maybe with graduation, or her birthday, or Winterfest, or New Year's, perhaps. But she wasn't gonna keep thinking about that. She was going to surprise her fiancé instead. Finley was sleeping soundly upstairs in Rosalie's bed. This would be his last night staying over, as he would be leaving for Foxbury in the morning, and Rosalie not until the day after. She wanted to give him his goodbye. "Y'all are too much, I swear to God." Finley's awakening was pleasant, to say the least. His brain wasn't the only thing that had woken up. Again, he's so pathetic and obsessed. It didn't take Rosalie long to throw him down on her bed and get to work, this time asserting her dominance over him. Call her Nintendo, because she's most definitely a Switch. And right as the real fun began, the Westwood Bastianich family received a shocking notification. Elderly Speckles had run away. "You've got to be fucking kidding me, right?"